Like, it was like, instead of a move-in, it turned into a full gut.
Oh, no.
I've never felt so terrible in my life.
Hey there, welcome to another podcast of Real Talk with Bobbie Jo. Today I am joined with Travis Mair. He happens to be on our team. Travis, you actually were the first real estate agent I brought on to be on the team, weren't you?
Yep. Yes, I was.
I think your dad put us together.
Probably. Yeah. Definitely. Maybe Dad's idea.
Your dad is a social connector.
Yes. He has done that a few times in my life with opportunity. So sometimes he gives me a push, and then I have to wonder if it's for me or for him, and then ends up working out for me. He's the one that pushed me into real estate, actually.
And so when did you get your license?
Let's see. I'm renewing for my fourth time, so I think it makes 7 years.
Oh, wow.
January 23rd, 26th. So working on renewing again.
the beloved hours.
Yeah, I'm 3 hours into 30, so we got a ways to go.
I wish they would make the continuing education classes be more, just instead of just being the redundant same like state facts and whatnot.
Yeah.
I wish it was more like about maybe more current matters and like ways to be a better real estate agent today and how things are changing.
The one class I just did was all the fair housing and all the laws change for like the buyer's agency agreement now and stuff, and like it goes so deep into the weeds, and I was just like, I don't know that I need to know every RCW. I mean, it's important, but I don't know that it's really that important to me. We don't really deal with RCWs as agent.
No.
Make sure you have the forms signed and, fill out the right forms and do the right things. So
For sure. I feel like some of those are beneficial, but some of them are so not. Like some things kind of annoy me. Like, for instance, we can't say family anymore. Like, enjoy this backyard. And in our descriptions, we're not supposed to use the word family because we can just discriminate against someone who doesn't have family. So you can't
call it a master bedroom.
You can't call it a master bedroom. I know.
I'm walking through and I'll call it. I'm like, oh, nope, it's primary bedroom now. So it's all part of it. I mean, thankfully, the MLS, we'll filter out our stuff and we don't get into. I always was so scared when I started of like, oh, I'm gonna get in so much trouble with the MLS, and then I think I screwed up my first listing description. And they send you an email like, hey, you have 48 hours to fix this, or you get a fine. And then I was like, oh, you don't just get fined because you screwed up. They give you a chance to correct it. So
for sure,
that first listing was a learning process for sure.
I think it is for everyone, especially if you don't have a mentor though. Like if you were doing that
all by myself. Yeah. So I was John L. Scott at that time. That's where I started, and then Dad told me to go visit you. I think it was Christmas time, and it was probably, I think I did John L. Scott for like a year and a half or something like that, and then I came and talked to you in Christmas time. It was probably just over a year or just at a year, and then came and talked to you when we lived in Quietwater, and then you're like, yeah, Skyline will do this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, that fits what I'm trying to do way better, and yeah, service has been the same ever since, so the name doesn't really...
I don't think that the name really does matter all that much. It's mostly the person behind you. Like, so if you're working with a realtor, it's like, is it someone who's going to answer the phone on off hours and or complete a job for you?
Yeah, I had no mentor, so it was pretty much reach out to the designated because he was supposed to be responsible for me, and he had a lot of agents. So I actually think I get my the designated at Skyline have answered the phone more.
Oh yeah, they're great at that.
They were very awesome.
The nice thing too is if you're a designated broker, like for our office, if they're not available or they don't answer, I have no problem picking up the phone and calling one of the other ones, and someone's going to answer and someone's going to help resolve the issue. Yeah. Yes, that's been very, very good. So for you, since you've been on the team, you've been with us for over a year now. Yes.
Yeah, it'll be probably 2 years in May-ish.
By really fast.
Yeah, by really fast.
That's a sign you're getting old when time goes by so fast.
Yeah, it started for me. It started picking up and getting way faster when I started the other job that I have now. About 4 years ago. So what is that? 25? Yeah, 25. It's like, oh, my frontal lobe's developed now. Everything's just gonna move at light speed. So, it'll be 2 years, probably around April, May for us, and then 7. And
in real estate in general. So for yourself, and be honest, please.
Okay.
What are some of the pros and cons of joining our team?
There's a lot of pros, I would say. There's some cons too. I'll start with the pros because those are easy. I think just learning from you and seeing that, I always knew you have to spend money to make money. It's easy to say. It's another thing to actually do it. So,
For sure.
I mean, this is an example right here, right? The social media stuff. Having Amber at the disposal for the team as your assistant, I'd never understood that. I've seen successful agents do it, so I understood at some point it makes sense. And now I'm like, oh man, if I had an assistant, like, it's just an extension of you, especially when they're good as Amber is. So that's awesome. And then, like, those are the big ones. Is like you showed me about transaction coordinator. I never used one before. I was always doing all my own paperwork, and like it's good to learn. So I, if I'm ever in a pinch, I can help myself do it. But to have somebody else that can do it while I'm running around doing, a million miles an hour with my head cut off, to have a transaction coordinator that you can call. It's a tough job though, being a transaction coordinator, because you kind of got to be in front of the computer all the time. So if you're at home and you're not going anywhere, you need a good job. Transaction coordinator is great, but you kind of got to be available quite often. Real estate never sleeps. So
for sure, I think for myself, not to interrupt you, but for myself, at a point when I thought, there's been 2 points in my career where I felt like maybe I don't want to do real estate anymore. And one is when you're so convoluted with all the paperwork, right? It drives you down, and it's not, you're not being social. You're just doing all the tedious work. Yep. And at one point, I think I was doing 5 transactions in a month period, and the paperwork was just drowning me. And then, I would come home from work or come home from showings, and I'd be down in the basement till 11. At the time, my desk was in the basement, but I would be down there till sometimes 11, 1 o'clock in the morning, trying to get caught up. And you wake up the next day and you have a full plate, right?
Showings.
So I was just like, I can't keep this up. And another time was when it was this time last year, and working with several clients that I felt were taking advantage of me, and I felt very unliked.
Yeah, we were hoping this year would be better. I think it's been a lot better.
It's been amazing.
It's been last year we were like, what is going on?
Yeah, we were working with thankful, grateful, kind clients. Well, you recall, I called you. I'm like,
you manifested it. You got to sometimes. Yes. You got to. So.
But do you remember that phone call when I called you and said, hey, the house is vacant. I need you to come help. Show up and help me.
I had just gotten out of getting my tattoo done. And I was like, I guess I'm going to get the dump trailer. We're emptying that house tonight.
I was like, I want you to come packing because I don't have my gun with me.
Yep, I had my gun with me. So that's also been joining the team and like working with you as like a female, like as a man, like I take it for granted. You're never really scared or worried, or I'm not going to say that it doesn't happen, but at least for me, I've never been really had to be like conscientious of where I'm going. I mean, committed to going and showing a property out in Packwood, and the first thought through my head is like that it was not that I need to be safe or worried about where I'm going. Oh, yeah, we're going out to Packwood to show some people some property. So, another pro is just like, I always thought like when I first started, it was for family and friends, and that's kind of where I lived, and like didn't really know how to bring value to real estate at all. And I've definitely learned that from you. Like, I'm not a huge fan of like doing staging. I'm just not, I mean, I'm a bachelor. I live at home and don't really have things on the wall. But to see the value that it brings to the clients when a home is vacant, I think there's pros and cons. Learning about like what AI can do too for like virtual staging is pretty sweet. So you can check out different opportunities and show those to your clients. That was huge. Obviously, the social media is a huge one, to post. And then open houses, I have my feelings about those, but they are good. They do get attention, and I've sat plenty of busy ones, and I've sat plenty of dead ones where nobody ends up coming through. And I think the earlier you get them out and post about them and have them out there for the week before, the more people. But I also think it depends on kind of market and the way things are going. So if you're in a weather too, but I mean, you go back to COVID or pre-COVID 2019, that's kind of where like that's probably the hottest market I've ever seen in my real estate career, and it's got compared a lot to, same with COVID, and 21 got compared to like 07 or 06, just crazy. And like you said, an open house and like it was sold the next day. And like it's not necessarily the case anymore all the time, whereas like it was almost guaranteed then. I mean, when I bought my house, I went through, got outbid 9, 10, 11 different times.
Wow.
And I've seen clients working with first-time home buyers, like same deal, and you get discouraged and they're like, okay, maybe I'm not going to buy a house. And those were hard times. It's cool to see it kind of change, I guess, now, but that was a lot of fun. So it was a lot of fun. And, rates were low. Everybody could get into something. And now you kind of start to feel the squeeze and see some of these higher interest rates, the prices haven't come down all that much. And you're like, wow, like to afford a house now is like now it's real tough, and you gotta have it figured out somewhere how. And I'm very thankful I got to buy when I did. But those are kind of the pros that I've seen on the team, like adding value, having an assistant, the transaction coordinator, staging, marketing, all those things, lead generation. I didn't understand how to get leads. CRM is what you put into it. The more you put into it, what you get into it is what you get out. So, I think there's probably a way better CRM out there.
Oh yeah, we're in the process of changing that.
I think CRMs are great, and then the more they build it out to where you can just kind of sign people up for campaigns, and you don't have to go build them yourself and stuff. I don't have the time to go build out a 2-year-long campaign and type out every little article and newsletter that's going to go out. So as far as cons go, obviously there's an expectation of me outside of my own, and a standard that is not what my standard was. Like I think I was saying at the beginning when I first started, it was like list the house, get photos, put it on the MLS, walk away. But I also didn't get the full 3% like you did. I was doing it as a favor, as a friend, and kind of just like, hey, I'm here to help, and make it easy. And I'm not really a big pusher or anything. And I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not that I'm not excited. My favorite part was going and looking at houses with my friends. That was pretty cool. So, and just being able to be patient with them and be like, guys, I don't need to make a commission. And that's kind of what I've always wanted my brand to be. But I'm learning there's a level of like follow up and consistency that can be not pushy, but is also very professional. So learning that now balance. But I think that obviously like working on marketing presence, like it's not something I love to do as far as like putting together the content and, scheduling out posts, and there's a whole different thing in that. So, but that's also kind of where it comes to the pros of like, you showed me, you can outsource some stuff, and it actually probably makes financial sense. So that's why I was like, okay, this is definitely one of the ones where like somebody that loves it more than me, probably gonna get more enjoyment out of it, probably gonna make me look better than what I can do for myself. So it's probably worth the squeeze. So we're gonna give it a try. And this is kind of the first example of that. So yeah, I think that's just, living up to a standard that's higher than mine. And I don't know that that's necessarily a con, but it's definitely different and something I gotta adjust to. So
I'm sure it has to be hard too, because you do work another full-time job and a sales job, which is a great job for you. But you are a great asset to the Bobbie Jo Sales Homes team. So I'm just glad you're here. Yeah. One thing that I appreciate about you the most, well, one, you just show up looking the part. What I mean by that is like you show up looking nice and professional, which I appreciate that. But also I know that you have integrity and you're going to take care of our clients with good care, and you're going to follow through, and that's huge because not everyone does have that, right?
No, there's some shoddy, not throwing shade, but there's some agent, all you got to do is pass the test, and there's not really a standard of you shall do this as an agent. So yeah, like you're saying, like the other job that I have is professional sales. So you just carry that over and kind of same, things, pick up the phone, answer. It's crazy how many people don't answer their phone.
Especially in real estate, I feel like Scott will say to me, my husband, he'll say to me all the time that, why do you always say thank you for answering your phone? But I mean it though, because I want to encourage the good behavior that I like. And so when I call another agency answer, I always will say that. And people say it to me too. And so I know I'm not the only one struggling with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to get feedback from showings is like trying to pull teeth from toddlers.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
my first listing ever, I couldn't get anybody to call me back. I couldn't get escrow on the phone.
Oh.
We used some escrow on the listing. We were buying a property, I think, down in Thurston County. And my first transaction didn't really have mentorship. I was really fumbling through it, just really relying on the office to audit my paperwork as I submitted it and tell me what I needed. Thankfully, David, thank you for being a great first client and being patient with me as I stumbled through it. So I'll never forget that. And yeah, it was a vacant land thing. So big learning lesson there in doing that. And I just remember I was like, I'm not getting hold of anybody. I just called my designated broker like 4 times a day. And like, what do I do? I can't get things scheduled. I can't get things signed. I don't know what they need. So yeah, that was just like, I hope this is not normal, but that's how the first one started. Now, obviously, understanding how it works helps a lot. And that's why I was excited to join the team. And then you were like, I want to bring on other agents. And I was like, that's great, because I know kind of what my capacity is. But at the same time, I found myself in the same role twice now, which is kind of funny. It kind of goes into what I think my purpose is on a bigger picture. And it's like mentorship, training, teaching, coaching. For this team, we have some, newer agents, and thankfully I'm coming up on, I think it's that if you're doing it for your 7th year, I'm going to go into my 7th renewal. So I'm going into my 8th year, because you got to, So I know how it works.
Yes.
And so, I don't know everything, but I know the process. And as far as like, if anybody on this team ever has questions, they can reach out. And I know the forms because I had to do them myself for so long.
Well, that is a huge asset to have for everyone, though. And for myself, I lean on you for the land. Like you seem to pick it up or understand the terminology better. So it's like if we have a call for a land transaction, like you're the first person I'm thinking of.
Yep. Shout out to mom and dad for that one. I've been part of their building process. Just about every house I grew up in, my parents had built, whether they built it themselves or a builder did. So, and then we're currently building, my brother's building his first house right now. So shout out to Logs for everything that I've learned as well. But yeah, I think it's so cool to build a house. It's what I grew up thinking was normal. I was like, oh, you just build your own house. It's not normal. It's pretty cool though. I got the fortunate pleasure of being able to build buy a new construction, and I didn't know that's what I was going for, but it's how it worked out, and that was pretty cool too. It was like, oh, everything's new, but there's also some amazing houses out there that have been either remodeled or have opportunities to be remodeled that you can still go make them your own. So land is definitely something as far as development goes. I think I'll always be curious in. It's something I want to go build my own still. So that's a goal I have for myself. And land I've learned a lot in, and it started with my first one. So we actually sold a list. One of my my third year, I had about 6 listings that year, or 6 transactions total, which is, I think, to date, the most I've done in a year. I don't know if that's good or bad to announce to the world, but that's what I did in a year. And it was one of my grandma's, and she had a mobile home on it. And I forget what was wrong with the mobile home, but through learning about mobile homes, it was better just to sell the piece of land as a piece of land, even though the mobile home was completely functional, just from like a financing.
It must have been 1976 or older.
Something, yeah, or it moved twice, something like that. And so I was just like, let's just list it as vacant land, and we did, and it sold so fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's buildable property in SeaTac. If you wanted to get rid of the mobile home, it was a buildable lot. So, and it had all the services there. So, go in there and build a 3-story house, tall, on a tiny little plot in SeaTac, and you've got yourself quite the investment or a flip if you have the money to do it. So,
what do you think of those floor plans? Have you seen any yet? Or they're popular in SeaTac and Bellevue, where you talk about this taller houses, but you walk into the bottom level, and usually it's like a second living room, maybe a bedroom.
Yep.
And you go up some stairs, and then you have your kitchen, living room.
Yeah.
And then up the stairs, you have 2 more bedrooms typically.
Yeah.
But I've seen some in the Bellevue, like when you're looking at Lake Washington, and you have, say, Newcastle on your right, and then there's like this little piece of property on the left on Lake Washington, where some older homes in there. And I think the average price in there is probably 2.6 and up. But like next to like a small rambler, they built these huge monster houses. But the middle level is the main living quarter. I don't know what to make of that bottom floor.
I think that goes to that affordability, right? That you got to build an ADU some way, somehow, additional dwelling unit to have roommates without maybe having roommates, or if you do, like, where they have their own space and you don't have to deal with them.
Yeah, it could be that.
Or if it's just even family, right? If you got grandparents or whatever, that's the way I see housing going. And while you were out somewhere earlier this year, you had me show the Graham couple that you had me show them some listings, and one of them was one of those. Like, you walked in. I think that one though was first story was garage and then just a little mudroom, and then you walked immediately up the stairs. And then it was like main living area and keep going. But we looked at a few like that, and I was just like, it's just what it's going to take now. Because it's like, how can we build a single family residence and still be single family residence and not be subject to like duplex, but also not build a duplex?
Right.
So that area is interesting. I just think that's the way we're going to see it go. Either you're going to see 2 houses on one property, or you're going to find an apartment split off somewhere.
Yeah. I think that you're right on that part, because there are lots of the new constructions are having like little attached ADUs. So
Mm-hmm. And it could be as far as like a suite. Like, I don't know. Like, there's certain rules, right? So like Logan right now is building his, and he's going to live in the ADU, and he has plans for a house later.
Gotcha. That's genius.
Yeah. I mean, so it's really, it's what I wish I had an ADU. You know, whether it's just the affordability now. You kind of have to have not even 2 incomes, but sometimes 4.
Right. Or sometimes
something. Yeah, something. So that's also why I got into real estate, is like my parents have rentals and investments. And so I've always just, you know, you look at the overall trend of real estate ever, and we're not making more land. I think we have a housing shortage. Like, we've had a little blips where it's dropped, but even 2007 we recovered from, and we're well above where we were there. So for me, I think real estate and buying a house is it's something I struggle with, to try to get clients to understand of like, hey guys, not only putting like a roof over your head and you need somewhere to live, but this is an investment. It will go up in value if you take care of it. So I just think if you're looking at it from that perspective, like that's where I see real estate going as far as single family homes goes. It's going to turn into, how can we turn this into multi? So like if I build my next house, I'll probably follow what my brother's doing and try to find out a way to like make sure I'm approved for an ADU or included in the plans to make sure that we have it. I mean, you have it here, so it's not a bad way to go.
Are you on 5 acres now?
I'm on 1.2, and I've got a community well. Which has like this is where like my knowledge on land comes in. Like when you have a community well that serves more than 2 properties, you have 100-foot radius off that wellhead that you cannot build within. And I have a very long and skinny plot, so that front half acre is about taken up by that 100-foot radius. And then you throw my house in there, and then my shop, and how the shop was existing before the house was built, and then you throw your septic in there and where your drain field is, because I'm not on sewer, and you start to run out of space. So that's why, like with vacant land, it's to know all those things is super powerful, and why I get super excited about some lots and then other lots don't excite me at all. You know, when you have a vacant piece of land and there's no power, water, sewer, septic available, there's a lot of investment that goes into that piece of land before it can be built, and it's hard for an agent or a buyer, I guess, really. And good for sellers to know. It's going to be hard for a buyer to want to come in there, spend all their money
just getting the lot
doing
right.
all the tests. Well, you're going to want to go into feasibility. You don't even want to buy it first, unless you're just convinced you're going to make it work regardless, which is really scary and risky, because you don't know how much money you're signing up for. But also, if the seller doesn't have all that information, and you sit down and a buyer's like, okay, we want to go through feasibility, it's going to take us 90 to 120 days, which is probably what it actually does take. And you're still probably not going to get everything squared away and figured out. But, you know, if you have to pay for a perk test, and then you need, you know, if you need a soil study, and then you got to get a septic design, and then you got to figure out if you can actually build a house there and what the water connection is. So all things that I kind of watched my brother go through. It ended up taking him 12 months to get all those questions answered. And he ended up just buying the property, understanding where it was, having a pretty good feeling that like, hey, we know water's in the street, we know power's available, and like it can either go sewer or septic. We'll have to figure that out. And it took a year to get all that.
And it's because the county is so slow to answer the questions, right?
A lot of the time, yeah. You got to apply for permits, and getting all those questions figured out and scheduled and all that stuff. Yes, but it's not. So that's why I'm like, certain pieces of property make me really excited. Like our Lala listings, when we really started learning about it, I was like, oh, these are ready to go. And they were. I mean, there was still a little bit of work to be done, but he had it all scheduled out. So that was really easy to be like, oh yeah, well, we're definitely going to get some interested clients that want the, like, that is the best piece of land you can sell. Something that's ready to go, because then all they have to do is come in here, get their permits, figure out what house whether they're going to build themselves, and the financing. Financing is a different struggle. But yeah, no, it's been so much fun learning about land, and it's definitely just because I want to build. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to retain all this just for my personal self, and then getting to now work with a builder and see how their team operates and how good they are at it when a good chunk comes up is crazy. So, but I've done that, and then most of my other business has been like family, friends, a lot of first time houses. Did a lot of those. There was a lot of like tricks and little things that you had to do to like get aggressive on stuff. I was never one to like, hey, let's get rid of, never one to ever say, let's get rid of inspection or those kind of things. But there's little things you can do to make your offer just look a little bit better. And, or there's obviously financing terms, there's preferences, even though there's not supposed to be. There always is.
I think that's part of the reason why it's so important as a realtor, before you put an offer in, to call the other realtor.
Yeah.
Like, because one is your chance to sell your client, like why your client is a great fit for this house. And then let them know that you're working with a trusted, known lender that's going to be able to close a deal. But when I get offers and people don't bother to call me, it irritates me.
I've never experienced that before till I started working for you, and then I realized how much it happened to you, and I was like, whoa.
I used to wake up, there's an offer in your mailbox. I mean, which is great. We want offers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But for myself, part of the negotiation process is I call and I'm talking about how great my buyer is and how it's going to be such a smooth closing, and you're trying to sell it, but also you're trying to find out what's important to the seller, because you want to make sure that if you are competing against other offers, if you just say to them like, oh, you can leave everything in the garage, we're fine with that. That might make the deal over some other deal.
Yep.
Or if you say like, oh, no problem, leave up the freestanding pool that has all the moss.
Yeah, whatever.
The frog collection or whatever. But sometimes those make a bigger impact than a financial means.
Yeah, the money or the.
But how would you know it if you don't talk to the other agent?
It's crazy to me. Like I said, I didn't experience that ever. Like most people did call. And then, yes, I think you and I co-listed a few, I think. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm getting emails on a Monday and they're like, hey, or a text on a Monday and like, hey, there's an email in your inbox with an offer. And I was like, oh,
thanks.
Okay. Like, I guess I'll go look at it and figure out what you put in there. And you're just like, okay, well, again, there's no regulation on
there's
how
no
to do
rules.
that. Like that you have to do it.
No, but I think to myself, though, that I feel like it's just common knowledge. Like, you should be calling who you're participating in offer.
Oh, yeah.
You should be filling them out. Like, I don't understand how agents do that without calling the other party.
Wild to me.
Yeah, and also you'd want to let them know, like, hey, tonight you'll be receiving an offer. Can you text me or email me to confirm that you received it? And if not, I have time to resend it to you.
Yep. That was a learning process for me. Is I definitely had sent a few expecting them just to see it, and then it either ends up in their junk or you miss a dot or a period and then you text them. And thankfully, I don't know that I'm ever like was so late that we missed an opportunity, but it was definitely like, thank goodness I do follow up, because it was like, no, we didn't get it. And I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, no, scramble.
So
no, I think that is very important. And I think that like what I say to the team is like, I want that to be what sets us aside from other agents, right? Like, I want us to think of all the things, because I really truly want all transactions to be as smooth as possible.
I wonder what that other agent from last year when we were going to clean up that house was thinking, if it was anybody else or if they just didn't cooperate or help.
Yeah. And then in this situation we're talking about, the other agent, she was great to work with.
Yeah.
They were great.
I hope she enjoyed working with us, because we were hustling.
We hustled a lot. But this particular, we were working with some divorced clients or divorcing clients, and it was not very amicable between the two of them. And towards the end, the male of the two was taking a lot of his frustration on me. And that's why I told Travis to show up with a gun, because I wasn't sure if this guy was going to show up and try to kill me.
Yeah.
Like, because he made it very clear he did not care for me.
No.
And it's probably the only time
he avoided me every time I called, though. Yes. He never talked to me once. Not once.
Yes, but he liked to act like I was
punching bag.
Yes. But anyhow, that's in my career. That's been the only time I have never felt comfortable. Like,
yeah, no, that's not fun.
Not that I want you going shooting anybody at all.
I really don't want to, but I really don't want to.
I didn't know we were walking into, but that particular client, like, he went through the house. He was supposed to clean the house out of all his personal things, and he went in and he just dumped on the island. He just opened doors and just dumped everything on the island and just took the things he wanted and just left everything else.
Mhm.
And then we were scrambling to go there and clean it up before the new buyers got there.
Closing and they were moving in. Yeah, I
And
was glad we were able to get it done in the one trip with the dump trailer that we did.
I know. I'm glad we had a man on the team that had some guns to pick up all that heavy stuff too.
We walked through and I was like, oh, this won't take us long. And then we started getting into it and I was like, oh, there's more here than I thought.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's the back of 2 trucks plus the dump trailer.
Yeah, it was full. So.
Yes, that was huge. But also that one made me feel better because I knew we weren't. I mean, technically, it wasn't our problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Technically, we could have washed our hands. I mean, we could have said, contractually, we're done. I'm sorry our client left this place so horrible. But I would not be able to sleep at night knowing those people walked into the house like that. And that was their, first time ever buying a home experience. They walk in and it's all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you got to take pride in what you do. And sometimes you got to go the extra mile. And that's kind of the cool thing about commission, right? Is just like, there's nothing that defines, like, you're still getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Like it might seem a little ridiculous, but at the end of the day, you're still getting paid, and like you're just trying to get open, from listing to close. And once you get closed, hopefully the commission at the end makes everything all worth it. So, and sometimes that's not conveyed on the contract of like, hey, we're gonna go this far. So,
I think that's the difference of working with us though, because I have done that on both sides because I before had bought a house and the other agent told me, sorry, contractually I'm done. And we should have. It wasn't as bad as our property, but it was still bad. I panic called Amber, don't go to the office, come meet me here. And we quickly loaded it up and we hired a cleaner, but we got it fixed. But the point is that we have to take pride in what we do. And like, this is our product. We're turning over a house, if we were buying on the buyer side or the seller side. And it's important to me that I turn over something I can feel proud of.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't happen very often. I have like a horror story, and I was buyer's agent, and the selling agent, listing agent was pretty much like impossible to get a hold of on the phone. You could send emails, and if you needed a signing, you usually got them back. But like as far as like speaking to them on the phone,
you're answering a question.
Yeah, answering, not happening. And then it was an estate sale. The son was living in the house when we viewed it. We viewed it in September. Looked like there was some stuff that needed to be fixed, and we're like, okay. So we go through our process and then did a rent back. And this is during 2021. So COVID, can't evict people. So very scary stuff as far as like rent back. Like, hey, like if he doesn't want to leave. Mm-hmm. And we ran into exactly that. So we closed and we didn't get him actually moved into the house till like 90 days after closing. Oh, man. Thankfully, we got him a few checks from rent back, but by the time we got into the house, obviously the listing agent was nowhere to be seen. They had gotten paid. I had gotten paid, and I still was feeling terrible. And then we finally get him in, get the tenant out, and the house is just destroyed.
So he's living there and
just trashing the house and paying us this tiny little payment, for a rent back. And thankfully, at the time, this was a buddy of mine, and he was living with me, and I already got paid the commission. And I was like, I'm not charging you rent. Like, absolutely not. Like, I just got paid for helping you buy a house, and you're not even living there. Like, and then we went, and I continued, and I actually went and spent probably the next 2 or 3 weekends once we got him in there, like helping him gut the house. Like, it was like, instead of a move-in, it turned into a full gut.
Oh no!
It was I've never felt so terrible in my life, and thankfully, that buddy and I are still great friends. So love you for that, dude. I'm very sorry, and it worked out. He's got a bunch of equity now, and the neighbors are great, and it did work out. But oh my goodness, getting him in there. I mean, it got to the point where we were about to pay to have the power meter pulled out of the ground, or off the house, and then have the water meter pulled out of the ground. We had the water shut off, and then they went and turned it back on, so we were going to pay to have the water meter removed.
Oh, wow.
To get him out. And, I got out, and it was like, ended up replacing a bunch of flooring, like deep cleaning. We ordered one of those flatbed dumpsters that they come with the hook and drop down. We filled that up twice.
Oh, my gosh.
Plus, like, excessive, like, extra dump runs. It was terrible.
So whenever I go to a listing appointment, I always try to encourage the sellers to pay the buyer's agency commission. Yeah. But my pitch is that I'll say to them, and it's true, is we're counting on these agents to bring us ready, willing, and able buyers, meaning that they have them pre-approved. This house fits their criteria. And most agents, I feel, especially now, I think we've weeded out a lot of the not so serious agents. I feel like lately we've been working more with serious agents, but having someone who's really working the other side and doing their job is instrumental. I mean, it's huge.
Oh yeah, it's what makes it go smooth or not. And so, like you said, if you're along for the ride, but you have a good buyer's agent that's just kicking butt and communicating and doing all the things, and they have good buyers that are on top of it too, there's nothing better. So, the whole change to the buyer's agency is kind of wild to me. I guess I think the first time it came, like somebody called me and they're like, "Hey, what do you know about this? Like, this is going to change. Like, what do you think?" And I was like, this is the first I'm hearing of it. And it hadn't changed yet, but it was going through the process. And I was like, I could see where people are coming from, where like, oh, we don't need a buyer's agent. But you really do. There's so much paperwork. And to go up unrepresented is actually quite scary. I think having both agents and, working in tandem from both sides of it we still bring value. There's a lot of work to be done in each side. So.
Oh, for sure. My goal always is for people to feel like they overpaid you. And what I mean by that, if you make the transaction so easy, they don't see all the work behind the scenario because you're making their job easy.
Yeah.
So like that's always my goal. It's not easy whatsoever.
No.
And it's not easy to be in a relationship or be married to a real estate agent either. Like, because you're constantly on the phone and
it never ends. It doesn't sleep. So thank you for giving us grace on that.
Well, again, I appreciate you being a part of the Bobbie Jo Sells Homes team. I mean, for real. And you're working out fantastic. And I look forward to growing old in this business with you.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm enjoying it. So thanks for having me. And let's keep killing it.
Let's keep killing it.